It's March 2011, and welcome to the Rogues Gallery, featuring the Ryan Browne art exhibition for God Hates Astronauts. Not only is it an art show, it's a release party for issue number 2 of God Hates Astronauts. You just saw the outside of the gallery, now we're entering to see the show. The show comprises of everything from issue number 2 of God Hates Astronauts. Those run across the top, and along the bottom, a variety of other work that Ryan Browne brought to the show, as well as some penciled pinups and cover work for God Hates Astronauts. So what we're going to do this time is take it straight across the top and just do all the God Hates Astronaut stuff, and then come back around for the rest. So, starting right here, here are the pencils for the cover of issue number 2. John L. Sullivan looks triumphant, right? Yeah, there you go. Starting right in the very beginning, page 1. One of the great things about Ryan's work is the huge variety of characters and designs and just the absolute ridiculous absurdity that he gets to put on each page, especially in form of sound effects. Some pretty great sound effects make their way in this series. For example, Blagojevich. Oh, those owl guys were so great. It is definitely an adults-only book. It has a lot of violence and language and sexuality, but it really, really works. It also has a ghost cow, amongst many other impossible things. It's hard to describe the book when people ask what it's about. In fact, it's hard for Ryan to describe the book. But we have come up with basically, oh, this is great. This is Grand Admiral eating a cheeseburger. That's the tiger's name. Pretty great. So we call God Hates Astronauts the Venture Brothers meets the Astronaut Farmer. And by the way, this is the print Ryan did for the show, featuring every character ever created for the series. So the Venture Brothers meets the Astronaut Farmers, but more specifically, it's a group of horrible, self-loathing, nihilistic people being horrible, self-loathing, and nihilistic to each other in the guise of a super team, while also preventing rural farmers from launching into space. And seriously, that description does fit. Once again, as always, we apologize for the glare. It's very tough to film framed artwork without a glare, and of course we are non-professionals. But Ryan Browne is a professional. Look at that work. Oh, there's a lot of great action and a lot of great sound effects like Jack and Kirby. And this is pretty great here. The whole panel is just, it's a full-page splash. It says nuked. And then there's a little bit of insult added to the injury. And there it is. And of course, my hand in the reflection. The mustache panel. There's a lot of mustache characters. Oh, this was, what was that guy's name? Monkey Neil? Poor guy. Yeah, whatever you think is going on, it's even more ridiculous than that. But it's so great. We were lucky enough to have Ryan at the store for 24-hour comic day, and he produced a pretty great 24-hour comic book. He actually did 25 pages by accident. This is Gnarled Winslow. Used to be Carl Winslow. I'm sure you may remember that name if you were a fan of 80s sitcoms. And here is Reed Spacer, another great throwaway character. But Ryan's 24-hour comic day comic from this year is pretty great and worth looking up. It should be on his Facebook page. And if you ever see him at a show, he sells little ash cans of it. Such drama, such pathos, such radioactive arms growing from Anti-Mugger's chest. Oh no, Janet! Yes, that's Duffinga. What happened to Janet? She's Earth, the Wind, and Fire, but that's impossible. Wrenched. Seriously, it's such a great honor to look at these pages in person. He puts so much into them, and they're pretty damn funny. We're cheating a little bit and going to the bottom level here for the end of issue 2. It's a little bit longer than a standard comic and even longer than issue 1, but when you got a story that great, page count can't contain it. The climactic last page of issue 2. What's going to happen next? You can only find out at GodHatesAstronauts.com. There's the inked version of the pinup from earlier, once again featuring every character seen in the books, and here is the penciled version, so he must lightbox the inks over it, which is great because you get 2 pieces of art out of 1. And he also does all the colors on the book himself, but that is not something you see here because those are all digital. So much going on. If you want a copy of this print, we should have some still available at the Rogues Gallery. Get a hold of us through Challengers and we'll hook you up. There's the pencils for the cover to issue number 1. Pretty loose because there's a lot of digital coloring involved. Digital painting, I should say. And then here is a splash page from issue 2, the pencils of, you saw the inks earlier in the show. And now we start back at the beginning, but on the bottom row, the first couple of pages are from a property called Dutch. I'm not exactly sure what it was from, but the title character was Ed O'Neill. It was an Ed O'Neill property, I believe. I don't know the specifics. And I never asked, but if it looks familiar to you, it's because it is Al Bundy in 2D. No animals were harmed in the making of this comic series, but they sure were mean. Yes, The Great Sandwich Detective, a pinup Ryan did for Dave Lazo's pretty cool indie book. Monster City. This was a Card Trick. A lot of these are titles he gave them. Clearly you can say this is Broken Monday. This one is called Lasers. Hopefully you can recognize Scud the Disposable Assassin, a great property from the 90s, resurrected by Ryan. Optimus Prime, the very first piece to sell from the exhibit. A couple of G.I. Joe pages. Cry havoc and let loose the foxes of Lincoln? I think it goes something like that. And this is Graveslinger. This is clearly different from everything else. Very dark, very moody, very rich, but still equally captivating. And the show rounds out with Graveslinger pages. Pretty spooky right there. And there you have it. That is all the work that was in the show. Here is the whole gallery from the corner, the inside version of the posters in the windows, art table, and all the work on the wall.